It's football time. It's football time. It's football time. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
That's right. It's football time in Tennessee, and we got a little bit of a recap of what happened on Saturday. And as always, I'm Dustin, and I'm joined with Jaden and Cody.
You're
Man,
Mhm.
what a game! What a game indeed. I mean, I have to say, was a little scared at first.
yes,
Was
I
just,
think
scared and mad.
oh
I
yeah.
think everybody was.
I mean,
mean,
we kind of talked about it Friday's episode that this was going to be not a pushover, and it looked like that right off the gate. Like it was, boom, we were just struggling right off the get go, and I was definitely terrified that we could have lost that game.
Yeah, like NC State opening up with the ball and them moving down the field at a good pace. I was like, great. This is just great. Like I was mad, upset, fuming, angry, mad,
You
furious.
said Matt already.
Any synonym under the sun that you can think.
He,
That was
he
me.
was all the feelings. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's we were blowing up Discord that whole entire game, especially in that first half. We were pretty. I just like it. It was just shocking, which I'm okay with getting the ball in the second half. I like that anyway, especially I like that when we
Yes.
go against like Alabama or Georgia or Florida. Someone else. I like having the ball in the second half. Uh, and I was okay with it there too because I didn't know how NC State was going to play, like especially against us. And I was saying some, that this could be a bad game for us. It was not looking good right off the get go, and Milton was looking a little shaky. The defense was looking a little shaky, and I don't know,
Milton.
or not Milton.
Hmm.
Sorry, I was reading our I was reading our topics here. Sorry, and the last one hit my brain there, but yeah, just the Nico was looking a little shaky there, and so was the defense. And I mean, the offensive line, a line that is veterans, they were even having some issues. So
Yeah.
all around, I was just
It
not
it
happy about
felt
what was
like it
going
took
on.
them a while to get into the rhythm. And we'll talk about it later on, but I have it in our little notes here that we to keep on track is that looking back on it, like watching it during the moment it was happening, it actually seemed a lot worse than what it did. But looking back on it, without the heightened emotions of it being live and just watching as a video because I already know the outcome, but like watching the highlights all over again and watching the other people talk about it, it seems that they actually had a good display, and it did take them a while. Like it actually did, like offensively and defensively. Like it wasn't until like the end of the second, like start of the third, that we was really kicking it into high gear.
I think
But
I think
they did
someone's
perform well.
I think someone said, and I agree with this remark about the most. Tennessee performed mid, and them performing mid and still doing what they did versus NC State is crazy.
I mean, NC State didn't even score on offense.
No, they.
I mean,
I mean,
besides
like
the
a
field
field
goal.
goal, yeah. But I
well,
mean,
the only thing that really saved us in that point was I think what was it? It was like offsides or not offsides. It was something
The
that one of
penalties.
the penalty
the
on the
penalties
opening
hurt them.
drive.
74 on NC State. Don't know his
Yeah,
Yeah,
name. Offensive line member.
on the
he
opening
he
drive.
Illegal
That's really
formation.
Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah,
got
yeah,
hit with it a couple times throughout the game that he was lining
Mhm.
yeah,
up, further back than he was supposed to.
yeah.
And I guess what the announcers were saying that they were being a little nitpicky about. I guess that they're like looking at the NFL and they're saying, hey, we're trying to make sure they don't do it, so let's not make sure our college guys don't do it too. So they were watching for that. 74 for NC State was lining up in the backfield, and he was getting nailed a few times there. And I
Right.
mean, they did
And
get a
he's not a
lot of
rookie player
penalties.
either.
No, no.
Okay, he's a vet lineman, but all of a sudden it's just He's just making mistakes.
It was his foot placement or something like that.
Yeah, he was
or
just lined
where he
up
was
too far
at.
back in the
Yeah.
formation. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was too far in the backfield.
I mean, there was in the first half there was some very questionable calls on both sides of the ball. There was a few that did not go our way, and some of them that did. But all in all, it didn't look like it was going to be a battle. I mean, because there was a few games over the past weekend that was definitely from other teams that was won by the refs. This one, it may have looked like that at the beginning, but it was. I mean, it went down to the point where, we were playing decent ball, not great ball. We were playing decent ball, and we still came away pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Especially in the second half.
Yeah, it's in the second half. But to go back to I wouldn't say our notes are a little unorganized, but just looking at it here, our defense showed up late. Dustin also mentioned in our notes we undershot our score predictions.
Oh, absolutely. We all didn't. Well, we all didn't expect our defense to show up as much as they did.
Yeah, in the second half, even though in the second half we put our all backups in on defense and offense. At one point, I was watching the highlights again, and I think it was sometime like 5 or 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. Backups on defense, and they were still slamming the first strings on the NC State offensive side of the ball. But eventually, NC State, like around 2 minutes of the game, was like, all right, put their backups in, and we were still ball hawking. We were just
it was
flying to the ball like crazy.
It seems like our second string and third string defense are very hungry, which is good. That means we got some guys that want to play. That in case
they
something
got some
happens,
reps,
yeah,
in a good area, in a good light too. You had Kirk and Reese Davis, announcing the game. That's important. They only announce like some of the bigger games, not that this was the biggest game of the week or nothing, because I think Texas and Michigan probably was the biggest game of the week. And I watched the highlights of that game, and Texas just destroyed Michigan.
And I was,
but that we're not talking about them.
No, but I mean, if we're going to go just a little bit off the subject here, just for a second,
I think we will a little bit every now and then. Which is okay.
We're looking at, we'll get into this part of it because I find this a little interesting. We were ranked 15th, 14th, 14th.
14th, yeah.
We were ranked 14th.
No, we were 15th. Chattanooga beat Chattanooga, moved up a spot, and we were 14th.
Now they moved us up to 7th.
7 spots.
To me, I think that's awesome.
But NC State.
But it's because we did what we did to them, playing as mid as we did.
But also, given that FanDuel bettings only had us up by like an 8 or a 9-point spread, and us beating them by 41 points. Yeah. I think that deserves some spot movements.
And if you really looked at it all throughout the night, I mean, a lot of teams were struggling with teams that they wouldn't normally.
Oh, there was some upsets.
Yeah,
there was some
Northern
upsets.
Illinois, Notre Dame, and South Carolina, Kentucky.
Yeah,
Kentucky only scored 6, and South Carolina 31 or 38 or something like that.
There was some strange things happening on Saturday that just didn't look like it was supposed to happen. Now I will say the Texas Michigan thing that I seen that coming. We have right now in the SEC
third string or their second string starting.
Yeah, I mean we have in the SEC right now 7 of the top 10. That's SEC right now.
And we're in the top 3 SEC in the nation right now, or in our conference.
You know what that says? That says right now, if everything moves forward like it is right now, we got Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Miz, and us in the top 7. That as far as the top 7, it's SEC. That means there's a really strong likelihood that it's going to be SEC champion, SEC that's winning the whole thing this year.
Yeah,
that's going to be hard for any other conference when you have 7, SEC.
The Big Ten
teams.
looks this year. Without Michigan running things in the Big Ten. Well, okay,
Michigan is the defending champions.
Yeah, they're defending the champions, and
and
they
just got
but
blown
they
out.
they lost to give Michigan the benefit of the doubt. They did lose a bunch of depth after last year. I mean, they lost J.J. McCarthy.
Well,
They
rightly
lost some
so. They needed
wides.
to.
Jim Harbaugh left for the NFL.
He let's Jim left because he was afraid he was going to keep on getting sanctioned for the cheating that went on at Michigan.
Whatever
let's
it is,
not, yeah.
I'm not gonna get into whatever Michigan allegations, but he left for the NFL. He's gone. But
Also, Texas is just now a SEC team. Last year they weren't.
that's
So,
true.
I mean,
Texas also beat Alabama last year.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, I'm just looking at the way
They're
it
good this
is.
year.
Yeah, and I mean,
They were good last year, but they're even better this year. It looks like.
It looks like it's possibly at the championship. I'm going to call it early in this year. I think it's going to be an SEC versus an SEC
Oh, I agree.
at the championship. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'll be surprised. I mean, just
And
the caliber of teams that we got in
and
the SEC.
yeah, and talking and not again to binge on this for too much longer because of course we want to talk about the NC State game, but Oklahoma and Houston only 16-12. The game. The
Oh yeah,
points.
and that's coming up.
So
very
and
soon for
again,
us.
and the season is still early. We got Kent State coming up next, so Thursday we will record that later in the week, and it should be up Friday. So we'll talk about again. That won't probably be a long episode because it's
No.
Kent State, but
They
but
have a
of course
1%
we'll still
chance.
do a post game after that too, as well. But we really the Oklahoma game for me,
That's the start of our season.
that's the real start of this. Yeah, well, yeah, because after that it's just a bunch of conference teams after that.
Oh yeah, and
And then
we
of
got
course
up
we'll have
against our head.
UTSA every like at some point in there or whatever. But like, yeah, that's the start of our season, and it's a big game because Coach Heupel's finally back in Oklahoma since 2000.
Yeah, that's
being there.
He's that's a place where he's hungry for a win.
But also, I watched them play, and this will, if anyone else has anything to say after that, it's fine. But this will be the last thing I'll say. That's besides Tennessee football, or that's not Tennessee football. Is that after watching, and again, it's still early in the season, but after watching the Houston and Oklahoma game, Oklahoma ranked 10th in this game. They were, I think, 10th? They're still 10th now or something. Ranked
they're 15th.
in the nation. 15th. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever it was. Maybe I was just seeing the rank wrong, but I was watching the game. Just as of now, in 2 weeks, there could be a big difference in how they play in 2 weeks, for sure, or a week if you want to count 2 weeks until the Oklahoma game, but it's 2 weeks till we play them. 2 weeks till we get there. But I watched the game. Honestly, even we're in Oklahoma, it's still scary, but I still think how they played, they made some good plays and whatever. But I think, and if I'm not trying to be biased, as a Tennessee fan, but I think we still beat them in Oklahoma.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I think
I agree.
just the way that they played against Houston was lackluster. They should have beat Houston by like
it should have
4
been
touchdowns.
Yeah,
or
it should have
something.
been crazy. They should have done what we did to NC State easily. If they're the quality team as we are.
And I know I said that was the last thing, but the South Florida and Alabama game.
Yeah,
yeah.
Little
I was about to
strange.
mention. I was just
Jalen
about to-
Milroe it was a little strange, but Jalen Milroe has improved a bit after 1 year, but also he still makes rookie mistakes.
Yeah.
Like he's backing up in the pocket to evade sackers, but he's just holding on to the ball and getting sacked for like 30 yards.
I mean, being pretty much tied all the way into the third quarter and then
Yeah.
dropping 28 on the fourth for some reason. I mean, that's a pretty sketchy game. either way
Yeah,
you
it
go
is
about
sketchy and it was scared for them, but I knew they would probably end up. I hope they would have lost, but it's whatever. But they ended up winning. But Jalen Milroe has improved in terms of his playmaking and stuff, but he still makes weird decisions when it comes to invading sackers. He just runs backwards and loses 20, 30 yards in a sack. And I'm like, just throw the ball away. Quinn Ewers was doing that in the Michigan game. He was running and throwing the ball, just throwing it out of bounds when he was like 30 yards out of the pocket or something. So, but anyway, besides that,
Yeah, let's get back. Let's bring
get
it
back
back
to
on
it.
topic here. I thought that what was going on in the college football was interesting
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
but we're here for
Oh,
Tennessee.
unranked games were winning like crazy too.
Oh,
but that's
yeah.
it. They were
Mhm.
dominated this week. But anyway,
Um,
Tennessee football.
yeah, let's get back to let's talk about what scared us the most, which we were worried about, which was the defense.
Yeah,
First half defense, the second half defense were two different teams.
yeah.
It was night and day.
Definitely don't. Okay, let me say this. let me say this: the halfback with it. I have it up here. Sorry, I should have kept it on. Smothers, Dalen Smothers for NC State, only ran for 25 yards. And don't get me wrong, the first half running defense was immaculate.
Yeah,
It
the running
wasn't
defense
actually
was
running.
fine. Yeah,
We were fine, but the passing
yeah.
was horrendous. Defense, pass defense was horrendous.
Yeah, and I know I've watched a lot of commentators over the past couple of days, even that
I have
night,
as well.
and people are like, our defense is elite. I think there was a lot of room for improvement, especially in the first half. The pass rushing, the pass defense, it was just not there. Now they did make some changes and to it in the second half, but in that first half, I was scared that we were going to get passed on all night long.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, it was clear that there was some issues going on, and I think I mentioned in the Discord when we was talking that, I don't know if it was just that they weren't put on the right assignments, they can't keep up, or Tim Banks did not know what he was doing in the first half. I don't know. It was clear to see that running we had lockdown, and we've not had an issue on the running game so far.
Oh
It-
no.
the
No.
passing defense is where we're at. I mean, we're not putting enough pressure on the quarterback. We're not keeping up with the men. We're playing in zone way too much. They know that that's coming, and when that happens, he's just picking us off
Wait,
left and right, and that's what
wait,
we saw in the first half.
yeah, in which you kind of mentioned it, but you didn't go into it, is that you were watching like the other reporters or commentators on like talking about the game. They all said that defense dominated. I mean, yeah, it dominated later, but like I don't know if it's just me because like when you see a bunch of people, I don't know if they're just glazing or overhyping our defense, but like for me watching, I was like, dude, we started slow. Like you can't be satisfied with our defense in the first half. Like the run defense, yes, but everything else after that, no. Like there was one or good two plays that we be done, you know, like breaking up a pass or whatever, like making him throw the ball out of bounds or whatever the case may have been. You can't sit there and say as a Tennessee fan you enjoyed the first play out of the gate on, or we're watching it. Well, I don't know what clip this is. I think that was a sack or something, but
Just commentate because we're I'm just gonna play some video for the guy
yeah,
that one wants to see it. So, yeah, it's defense wise, we did come out, rushing,
you just couldn't be.
not too
Yeah,
bad, but when it was
you just
passing,
yeah,
we were
you
getting
couldn't be
picked.
satisfied with it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you just couldn't be satisfied with it. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm satisfied later down the road for sure, but like in the game. But you can't sit there and tell me that you liked what was going on the first 5 plays of the NC State offense. Like you were like, maybe it was first game jitter, not first game jitters, but like first plays of the game jitters, where you're like, oh, it's crazy atmosphere because this is a Duke's Mayo Classic, split into two halves. It's a bunch of Tennessee fans, a bunch of NC State fans there. It's still they're playing in the Carolina Panthers
And they were
Stadium.
heated too. They were straight up.
Oh, they
heated right
left
off the
after
off the
sometime in
gate.
the second half. The NC State, yeah, they were they were boom.
Yeah.
NC State was going off, but once we started kicking the burners on, NC State fans just left because they why sit there. But as a Tennessee fan, just looking at our defense starting out, I wasn't too happy, and I definitely emphasized my frustrations in our Discord on how mad I was. But overall, I'm looking back on it, we performed well, and I'm happy with it.
Now, conversely, let's look at the second half defense. I mean, you
Better.
look at it, we scored a pick six with a walk on.
Oh yeah,
He's not even on scholarship. He's
that was
not even
crazy.
on scholarship. Right there it is.
Yeah,
Around
let
go
me
back
throw
about
it up
6
for
minutes.
them on the screen here for them. Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see this pick six here. It's crazy. I mean, walk on, starter comes in here, just picks it like he's seen this sucker coming from a mile away, takes it home. I mean, that is
Perfectly jumped
yeah,
pass.
it was beautiful.
He knew that was his only option too.
Yeah, so I
or
mean,
throw it out of bounds.
yeah, it's I think our second half defense was completely different. Like they must have went in the locker room and shook some things up or something. He had to have said something to him to get them woken up because they started like you just seen that was that was getting ready to go into the second half, but they was definitely starting to shake things up right there. And then the second half, we basically coming out with some second string. They were
Yeah.
ready for it. I felt like
Also,
the second string was doing just as good as the first string was,
yeah.
if not
And
better.
and to say this, and don't misunderstand what I'm getting ready to say, the Tennessee defense hasn't allowed a touchdown in the last 3 games.
Yeah,
Last 3. Iowa, Chattanooga, and NC State. And you're like, well, what do you mean? NC State scored a touchdown? No, that
yeah,
was on
that was a pick.
offense.
Yeah,
That was a pick 6. Our defense has not allowed any touchdowns.
which
Only field goals. Only 6 points has been scored against us on offense.
which I mean that's crazy to think about. I mean, you know, that was Nico's first, pick six, his 2 interceptions of the night.
He was hit while throwing it. The
Yeah.
first interception was
Yeah.
Was
I
ill
watched that.
placed
Yeah, he could have
or
made that
wrong
work.
route. I'm not sure. I think even the announcer said something to the fact that
Miscommunication.
there
or
was some
something.
miscommunication going on there, or if the route was wrong, or
Yeah.
something, because it looked like he threw it in that one spot on purpose. I don't know what he was seeing. We weren't there, so we weren't in his
Oh,
body, so we
and
don't know what he's
yeah,
seeing there.
and that leads us to like our next point, which we're kind of jumping around our notes a bit. Nico's composure.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about his composure so far?
There was a commentator I listened to that he said that Nico seemed too chill, like
Yeah.
he was too calm, even after the mistakes he made, and that could get us in trouble when we face someone like an Alabama or a Georgia or someone like that. That if he doesn't know how to turn it up a notch. Now I don't know if I agree with him. I feel like I wanted to, after the interceptions, I even said it in the Discord when we was talking. I want to see how he reacts because quarterback, especially as a freshman, you learn a lot. You get
Yeah.
picked, even a pick 6. You learn a lot how that quarterback's going to respond to that. Is he going to come out and do something stupid and throw another interception? Is he going to keep a cool head on his shoulders? I think his composure was fine. I want to see him a little. I mean, you could see the wheels in his head turning on some of these, these formations that the defense was showing, which is good. We need him to learn this stuff now.
I think one of the points that you are talking about here, one of the examples that I can think of was whenever he went for a rushing touchdown. Like we seen him run a lot. A lot of what he did was running, and I don't remember if it was in the fourth quarter or the third. He did. I think he did like a draw or
It was a
something like
late
that.
QB draw.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was a
delayed a
late
bit.
QB draw, and I think that kind of shows a
30
little
yards
bit
further.
towards his level-headedness. And it's like you take the same guy who just made his first interception and pick 6, and then he comes out the gate with like a QB draw touchdown, a 30-yard touchdown. Jaden
Yeah.
mentioned, and it's like I think he's keeping a level. I think keeping a level head can be bad, but I think in his situation it can be good, especially whenever you go back to something like Milton,
There it is,
who
Nelson.
he had problems after he threw an interception, and he just couldn't get his head on straight
Dude,
afterwards.
Yeah, but also it seemed like Josh Heupel had faith in him because he came out after
Mhm.
the first pick and then he threw a bomb to score White first play.
Yeah,
Straight bomb.
exactly.
Like, did
Exactly.
not bother him at all. 31 touchdown rush is what we're watching right now.
Yeah, it's
Perfect.
I mean,
Late QB draw.
yeah,
We also
31
seem to
yards.
do a lot of
that's
shovel
pretty
passes.
nice. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did do
3
the
shovel
shovel.
passes, and I like shovel passes, but
Ugh.
I kind of wish we didn't do as much as those because
There's
I
the
feel
pick
like yeah,
6.
he got hit. That's
Yeah.
not his
Yeah.
fault.
I mean,
I wasn't
that
mad about
happens.
this.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I
I was like,
know,
that's just unfortunate.
look at that right there. Look at the
Yeah, he
speed.
caught him.
He
Yeah.
caught him. I mean, if he had another 2 yards, he would have had him down.
That's a
But, I
tight
mean,
end, by the way.
Yeah, that was insane. One thing I will say that I did like, and I like seeing more of, is Nico is utilizing our tight ends.
Yes, I'm glad. I've been saying this, and I've said this before and before. We need to utilize our tight. We have some quick but big tight ends, man.
Yeah, and we need to be utilizing our tight. We haven't done that in the past, and I'm glad to be seeing that now. that we have tight ends that can, get open. There was a few times, there was one touchdown, the tight end was wide open. No one even was near him. It was a perfect, pass right to him.
What it was is that we had our tight ends blocking for most of the game because for the runs and stuff, and then we did like a fake play action where the tight end blocked and then shed the block and then ran to the end zone. And Nico just threw it to him. He was wide open. I don't know where it is in the highlights.
It's hard
but-
telling. But yeah,
but,
I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's-
like the fact that we're utilizing not just our wide receivers, not our running back for the screens and stuff, but our tight ends are now being a factor, and that's different from last year and the year before last, where we not utilized that. That is going to be an eye opener for a lot of the bigger teams that we're going to face because they're not used to us, utilizing our tight ends. That's now an option for us. Hey, I like it. I like what I'm seeing there.
Also, not to go back to the defense point, but I should have mentioned it before we moved on. Nick Saban himself has said that Tennessee has a much better defense than people gives them credit for, or gives us credit for.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Do I think we're elite? We're super god tier defense? I don't think so. But if Nick Saban sees something in our defense that most people don't, I'm gonna take it. Not because Nick Saban's the greatest college football coach ever. I mean, he is, but not that I'm gonna take it because that's what he says. But if he says that and he means it, and then he sees something in our defense, because 2022 Alabama game. I mean, we gave Alabama a ran for the money, and of course that was a different year, different roster, or whatever. But as a Tennessee going against Alabama, we still, even though if we got them demolished, a lot of people's like, well, your defense should do good. But there was times where our defense did give them trouble.
Yeah. I mean, I will say to wrap the defense for me is that the defense just showed up late. They showed up late.
Yep.
They
But
could
they still
have played
performed well.
Yeah, they could have played better at the beginning of the game, but at closer to mid to at the end, they were playing a lot better. But yeah, they just showed up late for me. I was not happy with Tim Banks or the defense in the first half. Coming back out, they did play better. I'm more happy with what I've seen. That gives me hope for the bigger teams that we got to face down the road. But yeah, Nico's composure. He it's his really true first challenge that he had.
Yeah, it is his first. This was his first true challenge, I think, and I think he dominated it well.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm very happy with how he played. I'm happy. That's all I can say. I'm just happy.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
happy.
also glad. I'm glad that we're utilizing Dylan Sampson a lot. I think.
Yeah, we
how
wanna
many
be a
yards
run
did
first
Dylan
team.
Sampson? How many yards did Dylan Sampson run for?
He ran for 132 yards,
2 touchdowns,
20 carries, 2 touchdowns, 6 yards a carry.
The kid.
I'm glad that he's kind of doing good filler room.
He's not as fast. He's not as
no,
fast,
but he's strong.
But he's still, there was a couple times where he could just spin and get a few more yards and spin again, and it looked great. I hope he's careful with that though.
Yeah,
that can get him in trouble.
I will say he is fast enough though. It's not that he's not fast, but he's definitely not as fast as Jalen Wright, or Jabari Small. They were when they started going, they were gone, but Dylan Sampson has a quick acceleration, but then it slows down and then he doesn't get any faster. But for Jabari and Jalen, their acceleration was slow, but once they hit the holes and started getting some speed trucking up, they were just gone. You couldn't catch them. But that leads me to another point. Our halfback depth, I love it. Our halfback depth for the past couple of years has been great. Right? We have Sampson.
Oh yeah.
We have Selden and we have Bishop. Bishop had some great carries that game. Seeing the holes, and he was just juking people out, getting 5-6 yards, So I'm happy with the halfback depth going on there. He had Bishop had 10 carries for 2 yards, and he didn't have a touchdown, but 4 yards a carry. That's it's good. I like that.
I think Nico is in prime shape to just he's good with that halfback back there. He's comfortable. He knows he's going to be there. He knows he can trust who's back there to run where they need to be. And we got he's been giving everybody a chance to run and showcase their talent.
Speaking of which, I'm
Even
glad that he's using Thornton
oh
and
yeah,
White
oh
a
yeah,
lot. I mean, that one pass, I think it was, I don't remember the one that, I think it was in third quarter. The one pass to Thornton, beautiful pass. Beautiful pass.
yeah.
And
There
I
was
think that
he's
the
giving
chemistry
everybody.
between them, yeah, the chemistry between all of his offense players, I think it's really good for the team, especially whenever we get into these harder games.
Yeah, I was joking around about it because I mean we scored 51 points and I was like, Nico's like Oprah out there. He's giving everybody, you get a touchdown and you get a touchdown. Hey,
Yeah.
NC State, guess what? You get a touchdown. He's just giving everybody a touchdown out
Like,
there.
I will say that we're definitely still trying to be a punch it in the mouth in the trenches run first team, which I don't hate, but I would love to see. And I know Nico was 16 for 23, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's all right, not bad. It's not bad.
Take the
But
interceptions off, that would be
I would
perfect.
love to see like receiving 2, 3, 3, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1 receptions,
Yeah.
67 yards. That was pretty good, whatever. But then, like, I'm looking at these reception stats, and it's like they could be better.
They could be.
Not that they're terrible or bad. It's just and they add up over time because you're hitting multiple targets in multiple receptions. But like Brew McCoy getting one catch,
Well,
only one.
you've also gotta realize is the other team automatically knows who to shoot for. They know
Yeah,
who
and that
to
could
shoot
be
for
guarding him,
Brew.
and that's
They
right.
know,
But like,
especially even on defense, they knew who to guard on defense too. So when I'm seeing even on defense, I'm seeing some guys step up on the defense side that like even like on the D line, you automatically expect Pierce to be the guy, breaking through. But on the other side, you're getting tackles from your big guys up, in the middle and in your other defensive end. You're like, wait a minute, whoa, what's going on here? We got other guys that are stepping up and filling that spot. So even that's a warning to every other team that we're playing. You may go up against, start guarding our Brews and everybody else, but we got other guys that can catch that ball too just as fine.
yeah, and that's great, and I like that. But I just ever since what happened to Brew, I just want him to
Oh yeah,
have
absolutely.
a good comeback season.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But
I mean, when they run man coverage like that, it's kind of
yeah,
hard.
it's hard. It's hard. But well, let's see what else here. We touched on being in the top 10 a little bit. Yeah, we moved up to 7th. Oh, we kind of talked about the playoffs, but as of today, like as of right now, if the college football playoffs were to happen right now, we would have a 67% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or as of now, maybe not if it ended today because it's it's a 12-team playoff, so we would have a spot if it started today. But in the future, they're saying as of right now, we're projected 67% chance to make it in the playoffs.
I want to add something to this because I know it's not on our talking points, but I want y'all to kind of. I've heard this multiple times over the past few, past couple days of listening to these different, reactions to Tennessee in the game. I want to get y'all's reaction to this. I've heard this multiple times. People saying our only loss is going to be to Georgia.
Our only loss will be to Georgia. That's either a very hopeful spectator. See, here's the thing, and I like to emphasize this, and I've emphasized it last year, and I'm going to emphasize it this year. This is college football.
Oh, yeah.
This is not NFL. NFL, you're almost like, now NFL can have toss-up games too, but college football, like Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame, that's college football. Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame, that's college football.
Yeah.
We could lose to Oklahoma. We could lose to Kent State. I mean, that's very doubtful.
Very
doubtful.
But,
But
it
you
could happen.
understand, we could just throw 55 picks a game for some reason and lose.
I'm
Very
just gonna say
doubtful.
right now, I don't think we still beat Bama. I mean, if we do, it'll be a very, very close game. But I don't
it's
know.
understandable, but
I don't see it still.
like, see, this is another thing. That seems likely, but I hate to be that. look into the orb, here's the future type of viewer. I like the predictions and I like seeing into the future stuff like that, but it's hard for me to say anything because just take for example something so stifling, like so small as our score predictions for this game. We're completely wrong.
Oh yeah.
We wasn't even close.
No, I mean
And
I
no
was
one-
on the high
I-
end, and I
I
still
thought-
got undershot.
I thought NC State was going to score at least 2 to 3 touchdowns on us.
Yeah.
They scored 1, and it was a defensive touchdown. They scored a pick 6 because Nico got hit throwing it to the flats. And it was a tipped ball just straight up in the air, a mortar going straight up and straight down. Like, so like in terms of that statement, do I think it's impossible? No, but you still have, even though I think we'd beat Oklahoma on the road. Florida sucks, but Florida's always a mental game. For some reason, they always play better when they go against us. We have Alabama at home, even though I think that could still be a good toss-up game, win by field goal or a touchdown. I mean, like, you have multiple teams. Let's pull up the schedule here before I forget. Here, after Kent State, this is the stretch. Everyone needs to understand this. This is the stretch. Oklahoma at Oklahoma. Arkansas at Arkansas. Florida at home. Alabama at home. Kentucky at home.
Mississippi
State at home. Sorry, I'm trying to
Georgia at Georgia.
At Georgia. That makes sense. Them saying lost to Georgia, yeah, that makes sense. And then UTEP and Vanderbilt. So, like, looking at the schedule, right, we're gonna be just going into Oklahoma game, obviously 3-0. Maybe even like I said, I still think we'd be Oklahoma and Arkansas. Going to the Florida game, we're like what at that point 6-0, 5-0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're 5-0. Beating Florida 6-0, going to the Bama game, we'll be undefeated rolling into the Bama game. I'm with Cody on this. Alabama is just the talent's still there. It's about the coaching and if we can execute plays. And it's at home. So we have the advantage. We have the advantage. But
I just think it's difficult to gauge because you see our second half defense, and you wonder if the second half or the first half is going to come out, and if so,
what
how
Tennessee
long
are you
will
going to
it
get
be?
that day?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
Tennessee are you going to get that day? And I would like to think that Heupel's coaches to the point where we're not like that. But looking at this NC State game, we got that second half team, get that good old second half team of football that I hate. It's like, oh man, we can't perform all 4 quarters, only the last 2. It's not good enough.
Well,
and Josh Heupel said in the post game that, in his post game interview, that when you come to play at Tennessee, you come to be an elite defensive player.
Yeah.
And he's trying to coach his defense up. So it depends. Like the NC State game could have been a fluke. It could have been like Tim Beggs being questionable, or maybe our defensive guys were just, they still have like the early season jitters, they're excited, they're whatever. But going into Oklahoma, by the time we get to Oklahoma, that needs to be ironed out.
Well, I mean,
and if it's not ironed out, then yeah, I think it's a true possibility that our only loss is to Georgia. But if our only loss is to Georgia, we can make the conference.
You know what? You also got to look at the way college football works. NFL, you pretty much know from the get go. You may have like a shaky quarterback or something. But other than that, you pretty much know your guys are going to be about the same as they were last year. There's not going to be a whole lot changed. Now, college football, what you'd like to see out of a college team. Now, it hasn't necessarily been us at Tennessee a lot, but what you'd like to see is each game is built upon the other game. So what you learn from the last game, you build upon that and you move forward. Now, what we could see is what I think is what everybody's is alluding to, is what we learned here from the first half in NC State and, came back out. We're going to be able to do that throughout the year. It very well could.
Yeah, very well could be. Yeah.
That could have been a learning curve for it, because there's a lot of new players on the defense. There's a lot of people that have not played with each other on the defense. So it could have been just a learning curve and trying to, fit those guys in the right style of defense. And maybe when we come out against, because I don't know if we can learn a whole lot from Kent State game.
Yeah, they'll just be a scrimmage, pretty
But
much. Sorry,
when-
Kent State fans.
Yeah, but Oklahoma. I mean, even the announcer
You're getting
said
paid
it's
to play
pretty much
anyway.
a scrimmage.
They're giving
next
them a
game.
1%
Yeah.
chance.
This should
But
not even be a 1%.
The Oklahoma game, we're going to be able to really see if they kind of stuck to the old defense or if they kind of worked on their defense, figured out what style we need to play with. Now, if they come out strong and play all strong throughout the game, yeah, I'll have to agree with everybody that's commented said that, we're an elite defense. But if, again, we're playing like the old school, second half defense is strong and the first half they just don't really do anything, I don't know if that's going to be enough to beat someone like Alabama.
I agree, but also like I'm like looking stuff up online or whatever. There's a lot like going like just as of now, week 2 college football. There's a lot of articles or just like sports reporters and stuff like that, like these sports channels on YouTube or whatever. Whatever. A lot of people are saying, and this is like going to talking about the Oklahoma game in week 4. Oklahoma seems unprepared for the SEC.
Oh yeah, they do. I can't say the same for Texas, but Oklahoma, absolutely.
No, Texas, as much as I hate to admit it, Texas will be fine.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma just for the Houston game. And again, this is what Dustin was talking about, and what I'm talking about, and what I think, Cody's sort of talking about. You just don't know what team you're going to get later down the road. What Tennessee are you going to get during this game, during that game? But not only that, Oklahoma could play completely different against us. It could be a better team, or Oklahoma could stay the same or get worse and we play better, or we just play better, or we play on the same level but we play better, or something like that. Like, that's college football. And what Dustin said, you learn is from the after last game. You take last game and you build on it, and then you build on it, and then you build on it, and you keep going and keep going. But sometimes you regress. You take a step backwards and you lose a game or something. But like, it's just, you never know. But in terms of like Oklahoma's game against Houston, it's like Oklahoma shouldn't have struggled that bad.
No,
They just shouldn't
and
have struggled that
that
bad.
should not have been their first challenge. It should not have been Houston. Their first challenge should have been against us.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Tulane next week.
They should have swapped the games of NC State and Oklahoma.
I guess, yeah. I mean, because
Like, not like swap them out of the schedule, like swap their placement in the schedule.
yeah,
Like, put NC State where Oklahoma should be now, and Oklahoma our second game of the week.
I mean, it's to me, likelihood. I mean, I doubt they'll struggle against Tulane next week, but
No, they won't. I hope not.
if they do, then that's just even more credit that we'll just walk all over them like they're not prepared for in the SEC. But we're both we're both going to be coming out of it. 3-0 teams coming at each other. They're going to have confidence because they're 3-0 first year in the SEC, and this will be. I think this is the first. I don't know if any other SEC teams going to be battling each other yet until that day. So it'll be the first week of SEC versus SEC, basically. At least the new guys, at least Oklahoma and Texas, they haven't faced anybody in the SEC yet. So Oklahoma facing us.
South Carolina, Kentucky played.
Well, that's why I wanted to rephrase. Oklahoma, Texas hasn't faced the new guys hasn't faced anybody in the old SEC yet. So Oklahoma is facing us for the first time, first SEC opponent that they'll face.
So
we're going to be, showing up to that game to prove a point,
ready
to them.
prove a point.
Yeah. So
welcome, buddy.
Better come prepared for that game.
After the Oklahoma Tennessee game, Oklahoma has this stretch. I'll screenshot it and take it or send it to chat too. Yeah. We already know Tulane's next week, so I'm not gonna get that in the picture. But for everyone else listening or whatever, it's Auburn after us, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss. Then they play Maine, Missouri, Alabama, and then they finish with LSU.
They're not going to have a good year. They're not going to have a good year. I mean, if they lose to us, they'll lose to Texas. They'll lose to South Carolina. They'll lose to Alabama. They'll lose to Missouri. They'll lose to LSU.
But now compared to and going back to your statement or your your comment about that, whoever said what they said about us only losing to
Alabama
Georgia.
Georgia.
Ala-
Yeah.
Look at Alabama's
Yeah.
schedule coming up very soon.
Was
They
it
already
Wisconsin?
play Wisconsin, Georgia, and then Vanderbilt's a throwaway because it's a throwaway for everyone in the SEC.
I don't.
South
Hey,
Carolina.
you say that now. I got a funny feeling Vandy's going to do good this year.
I don't.
Hey, I know, but I got a funny feeling they're
Okay,
not.
look, they're
not gonna
2-0,
be horrible.
Sure,
They're not
they
gonna be
beat Virginia
horrible.
Tech. That's cool. That's good. That's good for Vanderbilt. I will give Vanderbilt that. They beat Virginia Tech, an ACC team.
Yeah.
Fine. No, ACC team. ACC's is the third conference, the third best conference in the nation.
Yeah,
Because
and that's
Vanderbilt
not a
beating
bad
Virginia
team
Tech,
in the ACC either.
We beat
so,
Virginia Tech.
yeah.
That should be the standard. Like that's the SEC standard. We should run the ACC. If you put even half the teams of the SEC in the ACC, we run the conference. I wholeheartedly believe that.
I know Cody's kind of snickering at Vandy.
I was
but I'm
about-
just saying, I think
was
they'll
about
do
to
decent
say.
this year.
I was about to say, you know who they didn't beat? A SoCon team.
Oh, gosh.
Here's Vandy's schedule. If anyone, if,
Hey, I mean,
for
they
us
got
in chat.
they're going to go 3-0 right off the bat. They're going to go
I mean, they
Georgia
lose to
State.
Mizzou.
I don't
They
know.
lose to Alabama.
Georgia State beat FSU, man. I mean, come on.
Well,
Oh,
now.
that's Georgia Tech.
As Georgia.
That was Georgia Tech.
I
Yeah.
know.
I think they'll
But-
do decent. I think for them, I know this ain't a Vanderbilt, you know, but I think for them, their big game that you need to watch is Kentucky versus Vanderbilt.
I sort of agree, actually.
And maybe Auburn versus Vanderbilt. I think those
Yeah, sure,
games will
they'll
be
3-0.
close.
They'll be 3-0, and they won't win a game till Ball State, maybe Kentucky. Hey, they could. Nah, they lose to South Carolina. If they beat
Yeah,
Kentucky,
they're
then
gonna-
they lose South Carolina.
They'll lose.
They lose to everyone else
Yeah.
but Ball State, maybe Kentucky
I think they may
Yeah.
beat Auburn
and
too.
Georgia State.
I-
I actually doubt it.
I think they could. I think they'll lose to South Carolina, but I think Auburn they have a
Who
chance.
does Auburn play? Auburn plays. We're not New Mexico next week. I don't care about that. Oh well, let's take a look at this. Auburn did lose to California, but it was only by a touchdown, give or take. So Auburn then plays Arkansas, Oklahoma, Georgia, Missouri, Kentucky, Vandy, LA, Monroe, Texas A&M, and Alabama because they play Alabama in the Iron Bowl every year at the end of the year.
I mean, I think it's possible.
It's about the same schedule, to be honest,
Yeah.
except for Texas A&M. I still think Auburn wins.
I mean, they could, but I'm just saying.
Maybe I need to watch some Vanderbilt highlights in. I don't know, but I just don't see it.
I'm telling you right now, they're going to be like Mizzou was last year, slowly sneaking up on you. I guarantee it. They're not going to be.
Look, man, I
they're not
want
gonna
to
be-
believe you, but I just can't.
I know, because
I
the
can't.
history of Vandy, I know, but I'm just telling you right now. I got a sneaky suspicion in a
I'm
year or
happy
two
for him, I guess.
they'll be a contender.
I don't
hap-
believe in you, Dustin.
I'm happy
I
for
don't
him, I
believe
guess.
it.
They beat Virginia Tech.
I don't believe.
I mean,
you. I don't.
Even though that's the SEC standard to, beat
Beaten,
an,
yeah.
an opener like Virginia Tech, an ACC team, but like,
Hey, that's big for them. That is big for them.
yeah, that's big for them. But
When
it's
you
not
lose to ETSU, that's big for them.
Maybe they turned it around. Maybe since they finally got their stadium renovated, they can focus on playing football now.
Maybe they have someplace to play.
Hey,
football.
we laughed about Mizzou the same way, and look at them.
Well, I
now.
never really necessarily thought Missouri was bad. It's just like they wasn't doing so good last year, and all of a sudden they got it together. I mean, that's college football.
And they're
That's the
ranked
exact reason
6th
why
right
I
now.
can't.
Yeah,
That's
why.
the exact reason why I can't say for sure that
that the only loss
we'll only
have is
lose to Georgia.
And even then, I mean, we go up against Georgia, something can happen. We beat them too. It's you just don't know.
And it's
It's
the
happened
battered
in
Vol
the
syndrome
past.
in me as well that I'm just skeptical about. It doesn't ever, except for like the actual cupcake games. I am skeptical about every game that's even slightly
Oh
important.
yeah,
Arkansas, Oklahoma, Florida, Alabama, any SEC game, I am slightly skeptical about it.
Listen,
Even
we
though I
all
think we
start
beat more
out
of 'em.
tied. We all start out at 0-0. It's anybody's game from the beginning of the game. But I think where we really shine is near the second half, and I think that's where
That's not
literally every
good.
other team shines is in the
Second
second half.
half, yeah.
So
Well,
I
so
mean,
far it looks like except for Oklahoma because they played about the same the entire game.
Yeah, that and Florida's about the same too.
Florida,
I,
Florida beat Samford.
yeah.
Oh, Cody also brought this up,
Arkansas
like
just
what
lost
Texas,
also.
Texas saying bring us a natty. I mean, it could be true. I
That
guess.
could be
God.
true. I mean, that's an elite team right there.
Who did Arkansas lose to?
Arkansas lost to
Oklahoma State. Oh,
yeah.
that was too bad.
Well, I will say they should have lost in regular, not overtime, regular
Oh,
time.
Arkansas's cooked.
They the refs helped them out big time. I mean, it was blatantly obvious. Even the announcer was like, I do not see what the refs are even talking about here. And it was like offsides or something, or lining up in the neutral zone. And everybody was like, where are they getting this at? They basically handed the win or the try to win to Arkansas, and Arkansas still couldn't pull it off in double overtime. Yeah.
Arkansas schedule is like whatever, but like Auburn, Texas A&M, us, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Texas, LA Tech, and Missouri.
Yeah, they don't have many wins left in this season.
Oh, they're ruined
Yeah.
compared to last season. They beat Florida last year, so
I just don't see. I mean, with this whole new SEC mix up and stuff, every year's a different possibility for every SEC team. So, except for Georgia, of course. I mean, they seem to always dominate right now. But I mean, Cody laughs about it, but we've beat Georgia in the past off of just a Hail Mary right into the end zone.
but back in the day when we were equally as good.
But I mean, what I'm saying is anything can happen. You don't know.
Yes,
I mean, they call it Beamer ball down there, but somebody can get sick. The coach can get sick, and not it's hard telling. You just don't know what's happening until we show up to the game. I mean, anything happens. We've seen it. We should have won South Carolina when Hooker was there, but Hooker got injured. I mean, you just don't know, until the game happens. You're in the moment, and anything can happen. So for us to go, what was that 10-1 this season? I'm thinking it's closer to what 9-2.
I will say that Texas does
9-3.
play. Texas does play
9-3.
Georgia on October 19th.
Yeah, because it would be 11-1. 10-2. You would have to lose 2.
I think it's 10-2. Then I think we lose maybe 2.
I'm the way we're playing. If we can iron out the defense, I can sort of agree with the 10-2.
Yeah, I can too.
Because I think as of right now, as of right now, sorry, hold on. Let me look at some schedules here in Discord. Where's Missouri? Who plays Missouri at some point in the? Oh, okay. They're 6 right now. Never mind. I was gonna say something, but no, we are. Despite of national rank, Tennessee as of right now is like in the top 3 in the SEC.
Oh yeah,
in terms of like stats and performance.
And remember, it doesn't matter if we win the SEC championship or not. It don't. I mean, if we're in the top 12, we're going. So, I mean, I think
the best chance of us getting in there is not only remaining in the top 12, but 10-2 record.
Yeah, 10-2. We need
9-3 is not impossible. You can make it in 9-3. It's just a little less. It depends on who you lose to when you're 9-3.
Yeah, and strength of schedules. I mean, that will play in factor and stuff. I mean, but yeah, I think 10-2 that puts us in the playoff. I mean, I feel comfortable with 10-2.
I still think we make the playoffs realistically this year if we don't get bummed out.
Somehow. At the beginning of the season, I would say you're probably full of crap. Just off the past 2 games, it's a likely. It's a very solid likely that we'll make it. It's hard telling how long we'll stay in.
I just want the Oklahoma game. Our opinions may change after the Oklahoma game, but
once we see that Oklahoma game, things will be different. Or maybe the same. It's hard telling.
Why are we just a weird note? Why are we playing Kent State at 7:45 p.m.?
I don't know.
I thought it was at 7:30.
No, it's 7:45.
Nope, Kent State's at 7:45, and then the next week Oklahoma is at 7:30.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one either.
Okay, Oklahoma at 7:30 is fine because it's an away game,
Yeah,
and
and
whatever.
it's in Oklahoma, so it's going to be
And it's
actually
Oklahoma.
yeah.
But Kent State at home at 7:45.
Yeah, that's odd. I mean, especially for a nobody team.
We usually play those games around noon or 3:30.
I mean, you can see the UTEP is at 1. You know, that's about right.
Okay, they already scheduled the UTEP game for 1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was UTEP, not UTSA. My bad. I
Yeah.
said UTSA earlier this episode. It's UTEP.
UTEP is at 1, so that's
Well,
about what
Andy was
time
thinking
we
about
play.
going to that game or something. He was like, "Talk when we left your
Oh, yeah.
house. When you left your house, Chattanooga." He was like, "Well, we'll look into going to a Tennessee football game or whatever." And I was like, "Hey, that's cool.
He
I don't care if
probably-
it's UTEP. You
yeah,
know,
he'll
I'll
probably
go.
go.
Yeah.
You just
I
have
would
to
much
stay in
rather go to
contact with him.
any SEC game, but hey, I'll go to a UTEP game.
It's just hard to get tickets right now. I mean, they're so
Yeah, I know.
expensive.
They're
You got
expensive.
$300.
Yeah.
No, I know, but it's just how it is. It sucks.
$300 for a top row seat right
Hey, my
next to the
my
video
first
OLS.
Tennessee game was a Tennessee and Florida game at home.
But hey, are we pretty much good with this podcast? Because we're getting off the topic here, and it's
I know.
almost
We're
an
good.
hour.
Is there
so.
anything else? Let's look at the notes. Is there anything else? We pretty much hit everything. Nico's true challenge, the defense, Nick Saban playoff prediction,
Yeah.
halfback dab, Nico's
Oh,
composure.
one thing I did want to mention is
Nico and passing compared to Milton.
yeah. Well, we'll throw that in just a second. But did anybody catch Nico's defensive hit? I mean, he got a tackle.
What?
He's
Oh,
got
yeah, I saw
he's
that.
got a tackle listed. I
Yeah.
mean, he destroyed that guy. I mean, plowed him. I'm like, oh, okay, Nico.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dang, son.
I was like, he's hustling.
Yeah.
But anyway, last thing, which Cody put in like almost right before we started. Nico's passing compared to Milton, and we're actually done. We're out of here.
Yeah.
No more talking.
Yep.
I'll just start off saying that
It's better. I'm done.
Yeah. Nico is more accurate. There is some like a little bit overthrows, but I think it's not just because he's trying to overthrow him by like, because he can't control himself. I think it's because he's trying to put it in the right place, and sometimes that can be tricky. I don't think him and Milton have any playing style whatsoever like each other. At first, I thought, well, the Iowa game, I could see that was some in there, but I think he's worked on, or someone's worked on with him in the off season,
I think
and
his
he's a
passes-
different.
I think his passes are great.
Yeah. There was some ducks I seen, some dead ducks he threw, but I mean, accuracy wise, he's getting it where he wants to. That one weird throw, I'm not sure if it was a miscommunication, misassignment. I'm not sure. But other than that, I mean, you can't fault him for the pick six. He got hit. I mean, other than that, he was fine. I think he's way better than Milton.
Hey, Milton's great for the NFL though, so
And that happens. That happens. Some quarterbacks that are just not that great in college are better in NFL. I mean, that happens. One person I think is going to be just fine either way was Hooker. I think he's good either way as long as he doesn't get a concussion again.
Does he start for the
No,
Lions?
he did win the backup spot though.
Yeah, that's right. Jared Goff
Yeah.
is their
And
quarterback now.
he just signed another 4 or 5 years. So I think he's in a good spot where he's at because other teams desperately want him. So I think he's good either way. But Nico,
Anyway.
I think he's way better.
He is the $8 million man.
Yeah.
He better prove it.
It
We ain't paying him $2 million a year for
was
nothing.
less than that. I thought it was less than that.
Oh,
Oh no, $8 million,
Yeah.
maybe even more.
With all the
Other NILs.
other NILs and stuff, it's hard telling. But I think I don't know if you got anything different, Cody.
No, no, I'm done, but I'm not Cody. So.
No, I agree with you, full centered. I agree with full centered.
Yeah,
I
we'll go
mean,
undefeated.
I
Wait,
only-
wait.
what?
Yeah.
UConn prediction.
UConn prediction.
Yeah, I gotta
Oh,
root for
play
my
UConn.
Huskies. Hold on a minute.
What?
Oh no.
Oh, UConn sucks. Never mind. They lost 50-7 to Maryland.
Yeah.
They got Duke next week. Hey, they slammed Merrimack.
Oh,
Whoever that
gosh.
is. All right, let's look at UConn's schedule, guys.
All right, guys, this is going to be all for us.
UConn plays Duke. They'll win by 50. will.
We've gone way too long in this
Yeah.
podcast.
Come on, Yukon.
We'll have an episode out for you on Friday morning for the upcoming game. And as always, I'm Dustin.
I'm Yukon. I'm Jaden,
And I'm Cody.
closeted Yukon fan.
We'll catch you next time.